Alright, so if you're tuning in with me right now, then you have this sheet in front of you, and if you're tuning in from home, you can just take a piece of notebook paper and partition it off into 4 equal parts, like a giant window pane. And we've just completed our notes over simplifying expressions, so we know that when we're solving these expressions that may look like this example problem here, we know that the first thing that we want to look for would be our grouping symbols. And so our grouping symbols, remember, are our parentheses or our brackets. And if we should have both, we always want to solve the parentheses before the brackets. Then once we solve all the grouping symbols, we're going to go ahead and solve the multiplicative actions. Multiplicative actions would be any multiplying or dividing symbols, and if we have both, then we want to solve whichever one we see first when we're looking at the problem from left to right. And then finally, after we've solved grouping and multiplicative actions, we would look for any additive actions that are left unsolved, and so that would be any adding or subtracting actions. And if we should have both of them, the one that we would solve first again is the one that you see first from left to right. So I'm going to take my notes and push them to the side, and I have this problem that we're looking at. And once you have these 3 pieces in front of you, what we're going to do is we're going to lay out how we would solve this problem. So our beginning problem is 37 minus parentheses 2 times 12 parentheses. And before I get started, I want to think about my steps, G, M, A. So I'm going to be scanning my problem and looking for those grouping symbols. And I see that I have a set of grouping symbols right here. So I think to myself, what is 2 times 12? 2 times 12 is going to give me 24. And just like we've talked about in class, now we want to rewrite everything that is not solved. We just want to drop it down. So we would be dropping down the 37 minus. And so I would be looking for this piece right here. Okay, so 37 minus 24. The next thing I would want to think about would be my multiplicative actions, and there are no multiplicative actions, so I would continue down to my additive actions, and I would see that I have a subtraction sign, so I would solve this last, 37 minus 24, and when I do that math, yes, the answer is 13. So now that I've laid out my problem with my pieces, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and copy down these pieces in the box that is provided. So we solved the 12 times 2 first, and we got 24, so we're recording that. We're dropping down the subtraction sign. We're dropping down the number 37. And then finally, we're solving this piece next, the subtraction piece, and we get 13 as our answer. Once we get 13 as our answer, we're going to box it in, and we're going to go ahead and put these pieces back in the baggie. I'll see you back for problem number 2.